Hey there's Finn, it's Mason, just wrapping up this set of videos. These are my hands, I promise, but it doesn't matter this time because I'm just going to talk about the commands that you use when you're climbing and when you're working with your belayer and just kind of making sure everybody's safe. So first off, just before anyone does any climbing, once everyone is tied in and ready to climb, your climber is going to look at the belayer and they're going to say, are you on belay, or we just say on belay for short. If that person is ready, or if the belayer is ready, they're going to say belay on, or your belay is on. Once they've given that green light, the climber can then look at the rock, kind of figure out their route, and then they're going to say climbing, and the belayer will respond, acknowledging that that person is about to climb by saying climb on. So then goes the climbing process, and that's pretty easy. So once they've climbed up to the top of the wall, or whenever they get to a point when they're ready to be done, let's say if we're indoors, for example, at regional, they get up to the top of the bar, they grab the bar, and then they say take. What that means is essentially take up any other slack. So when I let go and lean on the rope, I'm not going to fall. By hearing take, the belayer is then going to choke up on all the slack and make sure everything is nice and tight. And once it is, they will say gotcha. By hearing gotcha, that's how the climber then knows they can sit back on the harness and nothing's going to go south on them in that moment. The slack has been taken out. And once they feel comfortable, they will say ready to lower, indicating that they're ready to come down. And the belayer will say lowering, and then slowly begin to lower that person to the ground. I suppose in situations where you're performing a multi-pitch climb, I think it comes in handy to understand the concept of being off belay, or I guess terminating that process. So once you're down on the ground, or once you're detaching from somebody, you're going to want to be able to say off belay, which means that you no longer need a belayer, and then that person is going to acknowledge that you no longer need a belayer by saying, or your belayer is going to acknowledge that you no longer need a belayer by saying belay off. That got a little confusing. Otherwise, the only things that are important are things like saying rock and rope, which come in handy essentially if you're climbing and let's say you pull something loose, or if you kick something loose, or if something's coming down. You want to yell rock so that your belayer and anybody else on the ground knows kind of what's going on, and can be on the lookout. You also want to be able to say rope if you're letting down a rope, if you're throwing a rope down from setting up a top rope anchor point or something like that, so nobody gets clocked in the head. The other things you need to learn, or you have to be able to say every now and then, is if you're in a sticky situation as a climber and you think you're about to fall, or you think maybe there is a rock that is about to come down, you say things like watch me. Also, if your belayer is just distracted, you can say watch me. Also, when you're feeling weak, if you know that you're slipping, if you're about to go for a dyno and you're not sure if you're going to make it, you can also call out to your belayer and say falling, and that's how they can be particularly prepared to catch you in that moment, just so everyone's extra safe. It's essentially just that idea of constant communication is going to help you to be a little bit safer and kind of in tune. And I think that is all.